Hey guys, it's Amy and I am back with another video. I hope you're doing well. We are doing a tag video today. It's the off the top of your head book tag, and I was tagged by Becky Books and Beads here on YouTube and TikTok. I will put her links down below. We met over on TikTok and she recently started her YouTube channel. So thank you, Becky, for tagging me. And I'm really excited to answer these questions. It's just what comes off the top of your head and answering these 10 questions about books and your reading journey. So I'm really excited to get into them. So let's get into the list. So the first question on this list is, what was your favorite picture book as a child? And I have a few. I have a couple that I have bought in the last, I don't know, 5, 10 years. When I was a kid, I was like in 8th grade. Our house was destroyed during a hurricane, so I lost a lot of the books from when I was a kid and everything. And I've been trying to accumulate those books back. I know that's a little heavy for the first question. I have a couple of the ones that I had when I was a kid. I recently found this one, which is probably my favorite from when I was a kid. It is Corduroy. It is this really sweet book with just really beautiful illustrations about a bear that sneaks away from its owner. It's just really cute. And yeah, I just have really sweet memories attached to that. Another one, this was a show, but I really enjoyed the book as well. Little Bear, Little Bear's Friends. And it's just got really cute illustrations in it. Other ones that I enjoyed were like Beatrix Potter, like Peter Cottontail, and I really enjoyed like the illustrated like Grimm's fairy tale. I know that was a big part of me growing up, was having those stories read to me. So those are my favorite picture books. The second question is, what series did you love as a child? And I feel like my answer is somewhat typical. I didn't read a lot of series growing up. I wasn't a huge reader, but there were books that I did really love. And of course, I loved the Harry Potter series that came out. I was about the same age as the characters, which was kind of cool. And I remember like watching the movie, and there's this 11-year-old getting to be a wizard, and I was 11 years old, and so it got me into reading the books and everything. So just really special memories attached to that. But a book series that I really enjoyed that I don't see a lot of people talk about, like on the internet and everything, is Little House on the Prairie. That was a big series for me. It was a big part of my childhood. I was part of the Laura Ingalls book club, and you would get like this monthly kind of subscription with different like crafts and things like that, like paper dolls and recipes from on the prairie and everything like that. So it was just a really special memory, and I really loved those books, and I enjoyed the TV series as well. Just growing up, I wasn't in like the country. I kind of lived in like military housing, suburbia, that sort of thing. So like just experiencing like, from the 1800s country life, it was just kind of this immersive escapism sort of thing. So yeah, those were the series that I liked as a kid. Number three, I had a hard time answering, but I just went with the first thing that came to mind. It's, what is the worst book that you have tried to read? And the first arc that I ever got was this independent book called Bound by Honey. The author's name escapes me. I'll put it on the screen. I was just really disappointed by that book. It was supposed to be like this cozy fantasy with some romance in there, and it was just like really poorly written and weird tropes. It was kind of like stealing from other fantasies in like a very not subtle way. And I was just so disappointed by it, and also because it was my first advanced reader's copy that I ever got. I was just really wanting it to be something good, but it was not a good book. Number four is your favorite reading or book memory. And I have a few of these. One of the first kind of like big kid books that I remember reading was the Great Illustrated Classics version of Robinson Crusoe. I've got a stack right here of the Great Illustrated Classics. If you're like a 90s, 2000s kid, you might remember those. I don't know when those actually came out, but I do want to find a copy of Robinson Crusoe. Like I said, I lost that book during a hurricane. So I just remember that being like the first kind of big kid book that I ever read. And it was it's a pretty intense story. This man getting stranded on an island and there's cannibals and all this crazy stuff. But I feel like it really got me into like the high seas adventures and sort of pirate vibes and that world. I really enjoy those. So I feel like that's where that was first like instilled into me. So definitely a special memory with that book. And then a book that was like my first big kind of epic fantasy was reading The Hobbit in sixth grade. It was an undertaking for me as a sixth grader. I hadn't really read anything like that before. The language was a little bit challenging and everything, but I just remember feeling so accomplished. And I remember just really enjoying the story. I loved Bilbo and just this crazy adventure that he got to go on. It was just a really special experience getting to experience my first epic fantasy. A book memory that was really special to me was I was in London on vacation whenever the final Harry Potter book came out. And I wish I had bought a copy of it with the UK cover when I was over there, but I didn't for whatever reason. But I remember seeing the displays in the bookshop windows and everything, and just the excitement around that final book. If you were around during that time, I hope that you would remember just the crazy hype that was surrounding that book because it was this huge, popular series, of course, and it finally coming to a conclusion. Everyone wanted to know what happened, and just the hype that was around it, and actually getting to be like in London when the book was coming out. It was just a really cool experience. Getting back into reading as an adult, reading The City of Brass. That book just really had a major impact on me. It was exploring a world that was so different from any other book that I have read, kind of this Egyptian, Middle Eastern inspired world, and the magic was so unique, the politics. I just really loved it. And I know if you've seen my videos, you know that I rave about the Daevabad trilogy and everything. So it's probably nothing new if you've watched my videos, but it was just such a special experience because it got me back into reading. My final, like, special reading book memory is reading with my husband. He has been an audiobook reader. I'm more of a physical book reader, though I do have audiobooks I listen to, but we actually read together. I will read aloud, and we've been working through different fantasy series and everything, and just being able to get to react in real time with somebody else with a book is a really unique and special experience. And we just joke and have, you know, the shock moments and all of that, and getting to experience that with my husband, who is definitely my best friend, is just, it's really cool. Question number 5 is a book that you loved as a movie. So, books that have been produced into movies or book series, I'm going to kind of group that together as well. The first one that came to mind was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, specifically that book and movie because the movie is so true to the book. And I wish that that director, Alfonso Cuarón, I think is his name, he only directed that movie, but I wish he had done the other ones because I felt like he captured the kind of like weird quirkiness that is kind of in the books with Harry Potter. And he just really captured the book as a whole really, really well. And I really wish, again, he had directed some of the other movies. But I think that's my favorite Harry Potter book and obviously my favorite movie, but I just remember that being like a really integral moment in my life. I was like in middle school and I just remember being super obsessed with Harry Potter at the time, but I think this is a really well done movie. Next is a trilogy, and I know it's beloved very much by so many people, and that is the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I absolutely love the Lord of the Rings movies. I need to read the books, but I love those movies. I don't think I need to explain too much about that, but I think those are just so well done. Another movie that came to mind, and I haven't read the book of this either, but The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I thought that was such a good movie. This kind of coming of age and just intense emotional journey of a teenage boy, and I just thought it was really well done. I loved the actors and their portrayals, and I need to read the book to have that comparison, but I just really, really like that movie. And the last movie on my list, I prefer the first movie over the second movie, but I really enjoyed the books, this book series, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I know that might be kind of like a off the wall sort of choice, but I just really enjoyed the books and I thought they did a really good job, especially with the first movie. The second movie was kind of like a combination of some of the books, so I didn't necessarily love that, but definitely loved the first Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants movie. Question number 6 is, what book do you wish was made into a movie? And I'm gonna say like movie slash TV series because I feel like making kind of these epic TV series based on books is becoming more popular, so that might be more likely. But I'll just kind of say book slash TV series and just group that together. My first choice, probably not a shocker, the David Bond trilogy, City of Brass. Obviously, I love it so much, and I feel like it would be such a cool world to see come to the screen. The gin and just the really cool magic, the Middle Eastern inspired world. I feel like it would just be such a cool, immersive experience as a movie or a TV show. Now, one that has already been made into a movie but was really, really bad, so I feel like it needs to be redone, is Aragon or the Inheritance Cycle. I read that series with my husband like end of last year, beginning of this year, and it's just so good. It is just a classic fantasy with dragons, and I just really love it. And I have not watched the movie, but I have heard that it is absolutely terrible. So I feel like it would be better maybe as a series just because the books are so big and it being like a 4 book series. So I don't know. I feel like I've heard that Christopher Paolini has like been in the talks about putting the book into film or TV. I don't know, but I know because of the experience with the first Aragon movie, I feel like he's probably holding on to it pretty tightly. If I feel like I don't know who would produce it the best, I think is the big question. I don't know if Disney would necessarily do it justice. Maybe. But yeah, definitely the Inheritance Cycle. The last book that I would really want to be made into a movie, and the sequel of this book is coming out later this year, but The House in the Cerulean Sea. It is such a sweet, cozy book, and there's just really sweet magical creatures, and it's just really cute and really sweet and heartwarming. And I feel like it would be a really cool thing to see made into a movie. But with a sequel book coming out, I'm not sure if you would want to do like individual movies. I feel like a movie would be better rather than a TV show because it's not like this huge epic series. It's just kind of a cozy fantasy sort of vibe. So I definitely think it would make a good movie because of just the sweet characters, and it's got this really cute kind of seaside town setting and everything. And yeah, I think it would make a really good movie. Number 7 is a book character you would like as a friend. And I've got a few of these, but the first one that came to mind was the Fool from the Farseer trilogy. If you have read the Farseer trilogy, you know what I'm talking about. The Fool is hilarious and unhinged, but he's able to kind of prophesy and see into the future. And I just think he is such a hilarious and amazing character, but he is such a loyal friend to Fitz in the series. And I don't know, there's just something really unique about him. I feel like Robin Hobb wrote a really well fleshed out character with the Fool, and I really wish he was a real person. So, yeah, definitely would want him as a friend. Another is Hermione from the Harry Potter series. I think just like growing up, I feel like my friends were very like bookish and like way smarter than I was. And I feel like Hermione would be the same way. And I feel like just having that influence of somebody who is driven and really book smart and also just very loyal and caring, I feel like would make a really good friend. The last character that I would want as a friend is the main character from the David Bond trilogy, and that is Nari. She is a bit chaotic and kind of morally gray, but I feel like we all have maybe one friend like that. She definitely still like fights for what is right, and she's willing to go that extra mile. She's definitely not someone that you would want to tick off, but I feel like she would make a really good friend and she would definitely fight for you. So those are my choices. So question number 8 is a place that you would want to visit because of a book that you read. So first up would definitely be Egypt, which is part of the Middle East. I would want to just see the Middle East kind of as a whole, but definitely Egypt because of the David Bond trilogy. I know it's not necessarily taking place there, but it starts out there, and just the way that it's described and kind of the influence that it has on the book. Obviously, wanting to visit it because it is Egypt, seeing the pyramids and going to see just the crazy amount of history that has taken place in Egypt, its cultural impact. So definitely want to see that, but definitely just like the Middle East as a whole. And I feel like that came a bit more, even so, with The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi, which is also written by Chakraborty, who wrote the David Bond trilogy. I just really loved how the book traveled through these different parts of the Middle East, and it's definitely a older version, an older time that takes place in the book. So it's, different names of different countries and things like that. The Middle East, even just separate from this book, like I have had people in my life who really impacted me who were from the Middle East, who live in the Middle East and everything. So I just feel like it kind of holds a special place in my heart and would definitely love to go and see it. But definitely reading these books, it made me want to do it even more. Question number 9 is a nonfiction book that you would recommend. And I would recommend The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom. Yes, that is a Nazi symbol. This is about a Jewish woman and her family who experienced being in the Nazi concentration camps during World War II. And it is an intense story, but it is a really important story. And I feel like everyone should experience this. I read this when I was in 8th grade, I think, in school, and I just remember it really impacting me. It's a story of forgiveness and overcoming through really heart-wrenching circumstances, and I just think it is a really beautiful story. So question number 10, our final question is, if you could hang out with an author all day, who would it be and why? And I feel like I'm kind of predictable with my answer, but it is Shannon Chakraborty, S.A. Chakraborty, who wrote the David Bond trilogy and The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi. I just, as you know, as I've said in this video already, really love her books. And I think she's just a really cool person. Like I follow her on social media and everything, and I know that's just a snapshot of somebody's life, but I just think she's a really fascinating person, and obviously I love her writing and her books. But just getting to hang out with her and learn more about her process. I know she is really into researching for her books. She talks about it on her social media, on her website. You can see it in the books themselves and like the annotations that she has, her bibliography for just everything that she uses for her research. I myself really enjoy researching things. That was always something I enjoyed in school and even for jobs and everything as an adult. I I just really enjoy it. So I think getting to talk with somebody else who is a research nerd as well, I think would be really cool. But just getting to sit down with your one of your favorite authors and just getting to hang out with them and getting to just pick at their brain, I feel like would be really cool. And I picked an author that is alive. If I could pick ones that have passed away, I definitely would want to talk with Jane Austen and J.R.R. Tolkien. Their books have just impacted the world so much, and I really love them. So would definitely want to talk with them, but definitely Shannon Chakraborty. And I don't think I have to say much else about why. So those are all 10 questions of this off the top of my head book tag. I really enjoyed making this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments and liking the video. I really enjoyed getting to go through this. It's really fun questions to kind of just look through your reading journey over your lifetime, and it just brought back a lot of really special memories. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.